Hello, my name is Mary Bauer, and I am the Deputy Legal Director of the Southern Poverty Law Center. I'm speaking to you today from El Paso, Texas, just across the border from Juarez, Mexico. Since taking office, this administration has put in place policy after policy aimed squarely at erasing the rights of asylum seekers and in creating the harshest conditions possible for them, with the stated goal that the suffering of those who have come to our country to seek refuge should deter others who are considering that same journey. Most of the attention has been on the horrific abuses that migrants are suffering on the U.S. side of the border. The families scarred forever after being needlessly ripped apart. Children and adults forced to live in squalid conditions in overcrowded detention facilities. But there is also a humanitarian crisis on the other side of the border, and it is the direct result of these U.S. policies that have sought to deny asylum seekers access to a system that they are legally entitled to. The administration first enacted a policy of turning back asylum seekers who present themselves at ports of entry along the U.S.-Mexico border. They drastically reduced the processing of those legally presenting themselves at ports of entry like this one, and instead placed them on long waiting lists. This practice has trapped migrants, often whole families, just on the other side of the border in Mexico for months at a time, forcing them to live in shelters and to depend on the mercy of others. In addition to creating a humanitarian crisis for those trapped as a result of the turnback policy, the chokehold also has created desperation among many asylum seekers who then entered or attempted to enter between ports of entry. The administration's response? Enacting a policy making it illegal for those entering between ports of entry to even apply for asylum. More recently, the administration enacted the Remain in Mexico policy, which means that those who finally get processed are sent back to the same dangerous and squalid conditions in Mexico to await their immigration court hearings. Most recently, the administration has attempted to implement a policy that would categorically deny asylum to countless individuals and families from besieged Central American countries who had transited through a third country before reaching our border. These policies have stranded tens of thousands of vulnerable asylum seekers looking for refuge in dire circumstances on the other side of the border. Make no mistake, these policies were enacted to purposefully make it as difficult as possible for people to access representation and the system, and to keep the suffering of these people out of sight of the American public. But we cannot turn a blind eye to this suffering. It is our government's responsibility, and therefore our responsibility, to step up and fight back. We at the Southern Poverty Law Center are doing that through a series of lawsuits challenging these policies. We ask you to join us by calling on members of Congress to ask them to end these heinous policies and to protect the rights of asylum seekers. Thank you.